everyone. I'm Dr. Janna Rosales, and I'm an associate professor here in the Faculty of Engineering and Applied Science at Memorial University. I'm also the faculty chair for this year's Teaching and Learning Conference, which will take place from May the 1st to 2nd. And the theme of this year's conference is putting innovation into practice. I thought it might be a good idea to introduce this year's keynote speakers and have a conversation about the topic of innovation in teaching and learning. First, I'd like to introduce Dr. Awneet Sivia. Dr. Sivia is Associate Vice President, Teaching and Learning at the University of the Fraser Valley. She's also an associate professor in the Faculty of Education, Community and Human Development, and her areas of interest focus on topics like how higher education responds to the onset of generative AI technologies, especially in terms of how we teach and assess. And she's also interested in something that we call first touch experiential learning and how students come to their own assumptions and understanding of curricula. Dr. Sivia is also engaged actively in decolonizing and diversifying education at all levels by advocating for systemic change. And in 2022, she was awarded a 3M National Teaching Fellowship. Hello, Dr. Sivia.
Hello, thank you for that wonderful introduction.
And next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Jeannette Byrne, who is Associate Professor in the School of Human Kinetics and Recreation here at Memorial University. Her areas of interest focused on topics like the role that assessment plays in student engagement and learning, and the adoption of something called ungrading in order to promote more freedom to help students just to learn, or for students to just learn. Dr. Byrne is also active in various public engagement initiatives, and most recently around fall prevention in seniors. And in 2018, she was awarded Memorial University's President's Award for Distinguished Teaching. Hello, Dr. Byrne.
Hello, Janna. Pleasure to be here.
So before we begin our conversation, I wanted to thank you both so much for agreeing to be the keynote speakers for this year's Teaching and Learning Conference. I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about putting innovation into practice. So I thought maybe we could unpack this term of innovation to start with, because this is kind of the buzzword for a lot of things, innovation. And considering that innovation in teaching and learning in particular, that can encompass a lot of things. You know, it's about how we teach, what we teach, how students learn, what they learn. And it includes things like, you know, curriculum content, course activities, technologies, assessments, delivery. So with all of that, I'm wondering what you think innovation in teaching and learning means to you. And I'll start with Awneet for your take on what innovation is.
Thanks, Janna. It's a great question to start with. I think for me, when we think about innovation, people think about trying everything new. And I would like to kind of challenge that a little bit and say that maybe it's trying just different ways of having students engage with curriculum and content. It's not so much the responsibility of faculty to continue to innovate. It's a combined journey that students and faculty are learning together in those classrooms. So thinking about how students can access and connect with content in new and in interesting ways, ways that allow them to make sense of it in terms of their own lived experiences and their backgrounds as well.
Great, thank you for that response. So Jeannette, what would your take be on innovation?
For me, I think the focus is on how do students best learn? And that's sort of what drives the changes I make in my teaching. And it's creating that environment and that learning environment that really helps to facilitate learning in my students. And that's very different from course to course, even from student to student. And it doesn't have to be. I think when we hear the term innovation, we tend to think of this big, scary thing that has to be dramatically different than what I'm doing. And in many cases, it's just a matter of making some very small changes to how I communicate with students about assessment or about learning. So yeah, for me, the focus is on how do students learn, and everything I do in my teaching is about trying to to improve that learning environment and that focus on student learning.